Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is for all of you who want to be good persons and support the right side, but who might be confused by all the political information they get. I'm not gonna tell you which company to support or which petition to sign. I want to inform you about which criteria exists to find the right labels to support or to boycott. That's a personal choice and I'm not gonna make it for you, I can't. First of all, I want to tell you that if your criteria for boycotting or for supporting anyone is nationalism, in my opinion, that's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. And this is not about being Muslim or being Arab or being anything like that. In this video, I want to talk about real criteria for everyone who wants to be a good person, no matter where you come from. I'm sure that many of you have already heard of the situation in the Middle East. It's currently very bad and Israel has first attacked Palestine and after that now they also attacked the Lebanon. What is very important in this topic is that you need to know that there is a difference between Israelis and Jewish people. I'm a supporter of the Jewish community, which means I have to be against the Israeli government because real Jewish people who really believe in their religion are against them and they suffer from, well, from hatred against them because of that government. There are actually many Jews who go to demonstrations for Palestine and against the Israeli government and who even gave away their passport, the Israeli passport, and we really have to disconnect that. It's very, very important to not be against every Jewish person because it has nothing to do with that. Okay, so please separate that. It's not the same thing. This is not about being against people. This is about a government, okay? So I am against the Israeli government because what they do is a genocide. What they do is war, and they kill people who are unarmed, they kill children, and they kill animals too. And as you already know, I have 3 cats and animals are very important to me and it's just a cruel thing. I have seen so many videos on this and so much information from different sides and I've been overwhelmed by it, and there were times when I just lied in bed and cried because it's just too cruel to be real. Sometimes I can't believe it, how people can be so cruel. So you might have already heard of people who told you to support a label or to go to demonstrations, which is always a great thing to do, but you have to think about the consequences too. So I don't know in which country you live, but there are countries who send the police to demonstrations and who are very aggressive against the demonstrants. And you have to think this through. So for example, if you are a mother of children and your children need you, you might say, okay, I just can't do this. It's just too heavy and too dangerous. I encourage you to go to demonstrations as long as you can, but you should not risk your life, okay? So try to find a good way to support Palestine. There are actually many ways. This is what I'm talking about here. If you can't go to a demonstration because it's too dangerous, or maybe there isn't even one in your country, you can do other things. For example, you can sign petitions. I think it's the least thing you can do because it's very easy. You just take your smartphone or your computer and you just sign it. You know, it's nothing big, it's no big deal. But of course, even that has some consequences and you have to think of them. So yes, of course, there are countries you won't be able to travel to safely after signing petitions. The third thing you can do after demonstrating or signing petitions is to support some labels or boycott some companies. This is a topic that can be confusing because you might have seen some people running around like, oh, you need to boycott this and that, and I'm boycotting them so much. But I must say, most of the people who are loud now and who tell you to boycott this or that company and who think they are so good people, where were they before? Because most of them have just started that a few months ago. But you know what? Israel doesn't exist for some months. It exists for many, many generations. So if you just started now, maybe you should be ashamed a little instead of being proud and telling others what to do. Because, wow, it's nice that you woke up now, but where were you a few years ago? You know? So first of all, don't let others tell you what to do or tell you that you're a bad person if you are not perfectly boycotting them or anything like that, because most of them aren't really better, you know. However, if you want to know which companies to boycott, it can be confusing because there are so many different lists at the internet that you might think, wow, but if I boycott all of them, then I can't buy anything, for example, to eat or make up or even clothing. Which criteria is the right criteria? Well, in the topic of the Palestinian cause, I do boycott companies that support the Israeli army or the Israeli government. For example, through giving them free products or supporting them with even with money, which they use to buy weapons. Of course, that's something I can't support, and I don't want them to take my money and to use it for that cause. Then there also are companies that come from Israel, and of course they pay taxes in Israel. So these taxes are used to buy weapons. But I do not believe that it is a good thing to say I boycott every single company that sells products to a country I don't support. For example, the Israeli country. Yes, there are companies that have shops there and that sell their products there, but that's not a reason to boycott them. Because yes, there are people living there and they need clothes, they need food. Let's move on to the next topic, which are the Uyghurs. Maybe you have heard of them. They are a group of Muslims who live in China, and sadly the Chinese government, they, for example, do sterilizations on women. I just can't believe that someone nowadays does a thing like that. It's unbelievable. And again, not every company from China supports the Chinese government, but there are companies. There is an example that's quite popular in the Arab world, and it's called Shein. This brand produces its products in these labor camps. It's some sort of modern slavery. So again, this is not against the Chinese people, but it's against the government and what they do. Okay, now we've talked a lot about human rights, but of course there are also other criteria for boycotting other companies. For example, the environment. There are some of them who destroy the rainforest. The rainforests are called the lungs of our planet. Can you live without a lung? I do not think so. This channel is about fashion, about styling, so I need to talk about this especially, of course. So there are companies that do animal testing with makeup, for example. That's one thing. The other thing is about clothing. There are companies who still nowadays produce fur coats, for example, with real fur. That's a really cruel thing to do, and I cannot support a company who does that. When you look into all of these criteria, you might be surprised because you'll find some of these companies on many lists actually. So there are companies that do support Israel, that do support the Chinese government, and who destroy the environment, and that's not very surprising because, you know, if you don't care about human rights, you won't care about the environment too, right? It's just something logic to me. So yeah, you might be surprised, but you will see that there are many companies that are so evil that you just cannot support them in any ways. And I hope I could help you a little with finding the right criteria. Of course, again, this is my opinion, my personal opinion. You don't have to follow it. And I would be happy if you have some tips for us to share. If you can put it into the comments, I would be happy. Let's just discuss this topic. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time, my next video. Bye!